Joining me now is Global Affairs Analyst Chuks Nwoko to give us insight into all of this. Chuks, good morning. It's nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
The president is in Japan, just like other African presidents, and this is meant to champion a cause for African countries. But let us look at it very critically. What is the take-home for Nigeria? If you compare the Japan and Nigeria, for instance, what's their bilateral trade and bilateral relationship, one would say it is lopsided in favor of Japan.
It's lopsided. It's always been lopsided. Way back from 1964 when we started this relationship and all that. And it's been a major issue until recently when this activity of trying to develop Africa for Africans. When in the year 2000, Africa became an emerging location, an emerging economy and all that. The Africans themselves didn't recognize the fact that the economy was becoming an emerging economy. So China jumped in, and Japan also has recently jumped in. And like you rightly captured it, Japan is not able to match the investment of China in Africa. So this meeting and the one they had in 2016 is basically looking at how they can come up with an innovation that doesn't have to do with handing over these things. But I've always objected, and me and you have talked about this in the past, I've always objected when China and these people tell us that we have a shared future. We don't. We need to ask ourselves, as people who own this economy, have we recognized that we have an economy that is futuristic, that is emerged year 2000 and now? It's a long time. And people have written books and told us stories how that we economy. And truly, Japan does not have what we have. We have fertile soil. And these things that they see in Africa, do we see it? And by the way, what are the nations that own these emerging economies? Is Nigeria among the economies? So the bilateral relationship has not really favored us. And that is why multilateralism has become the phenomenon for other nations.
All right. There is a US-Africa Forum, there is the China-Africa Forum, there is the India-Africa Forum, now there's the Japan-Africa Forum. All of them, Africa is at the center point of all of these countries, all of these
what are the African nations
Is there something that Africans are not really looking at when it comes to that breaking the ice and moving out there?
A lot. It is the form of, first, for me, you know me now, I have a problem with the kind of governance that we have. This democracy, particularly here, has become disruptive. So you and I, Ngozi, were arguing the other time about what is going on in Cameroon. And I prefer what was going on in Cameroon. If they can put that, what that rascal behavior that you have those people put up. You need to have a nation first. And that's what is going on in Egypt.
Or maybe Rwanda is the better model.
It's not just a better model. It's an extreme model. Rwanda is not in Africa, as far as I'm concerned. They have gotten their acts together, so let's not even go there. Let's take, for instance, a country like Egypt. They have had problems in the last 40, 50 years with radicalism and extremism and all that and all that. You have recently a man who is there, a military man. And the world has become friends with him because he's doing the right thing. He needs to create a nation where everybody is facing one direction. It's only when nations are facing one direction that you can fit into this agenda that is going on in
before we go now, this is a continuous phenomenon. Do you think that African heads of state should come together, look inwardly and say, you know what, enough of all African heads of state going to Japan at a time, all African heads of state going to India,
and receiving handouts.
Exactly, and receiving handouts, and then there's the pledge of money and all of that. Do you think
what they need to first understand that it is not about Africa? It's not true. It's deception. This is about China and Japan over the Southeast Sea. This is about China and Japan over their own national security. This is about China and Japan over their personal agenda.
And they are only survival.
But they turned Africa into the playground for this power play. So once the African leaders can understand, we do not even agree with Ghana and with South Africa. How much more coming together and having these discussions? So they need to first understand individually before agreeing maybe at OAU level that this is not about Africa. Forget the 2.5 million or how much they're going to give you. It's about political struggle that has dated back to the end of First World War between China and Japan.
All right, Chuks Nwoko, thank you very much for your insight into all of this.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Joining me is Global Affairs Analyst Chuks Nwoko. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Now, take away from the last EVM summit that they had, you know, the TICAD 6 that they had in 2016, and 3 years down the lane, how far has the contribution of Japan had in developing Africa?
I can talk specifically about Nigeria. They've been they have had very strong impact in our society. I know that last year, 2018, they brought in $2.5 million to help as an ODA, official development assistance, to help the communities that were affected by the Boko Haram insurgents and all that. I know that the farmers, those who farm, do farm rice, they got technical support and training and entrepreneurship. They've been here since between 2016 when they had a conference, the last conference, and 2018. They've had a very powerful presence. But it's not visible to those of us who are here in this part of the country. They are powerful and more visible in northeast of Nigeria, where they're helping farmers, they're doing training. They have some powerful presence also in Abuja. There's a community in Abuja where they've gone to train people and just generally have impact. But I know that in Zambia and some other African countries, they've had very powerful presence in those places.
But why are analysts faulting the collaboration between African countries and China and Japan? Why is that collaboration being faulted, saying that there could be an ulterior motive?
Yeah, but that's the truth. That's the truth. It's not a collaboration. It's the regular handout, because the monies that are meant for these things, our politicians steal the money. So they come in to fill in the gap, and they're talking about shared. And in fact, like I said to Mike, when China had their conference earlier, they talked about shared reality with African countries. They are talking about shared passion. What passion do we share together? Now, I expect that, look, many years ago, Singapore was just starting out. They had a relationship with China, and the idea was not just diplomacy and all that. They had science and technology diplomacy, where Lee Kuan Yew will go to the place and say, you know what, I don't want you to do this for us. I want you to allow us bring your people into your factories so they can learn these technologies. When they have learned, we can come and set up Honda, set up Yamaha, and all those things in our own country. Today, Singapore does not have a shared passion. They are all developed countries.
But the Nigerian government...
But we started out before Singapore. So it is the leadership that we need. And you talked about how that more than 20 countries, actually by the end of the day, you want to know about how many African heads of state that went for this meeting. Because not everybody that is going to just go there for these handouts and all these meetings are there. You need to probe this in. This is about China and Japan, really. So Africa has become a playground where they come to do this power struggle and all that they're investing. Unfortunately for Japan, the $9 billion they have spent so far cannot compare to their about
so what does
49 billion that China has spent.
But what does Africa need? Because if you look at the way Africa manages its economy, sometimes you'd see that these handouts are instrumental to infrastructure development.
But let me share this with you before I respond to that. Do you know even the ODAs? Japan has gone as far as setting up structures and systems and processes to tackle the issue of corruption. Do you understand? So ODAs have moved from giving grants now to doing this and that, to where they're training entrepreneurship and training people how to do right. But by the way, what Africa needs first is leadership. Whether it's democracy, the democracy that we have in Nigeria is destructive, that it doesn't even allow you as a president of a country to do what Lee Kuan Yew by going out to say, this is what we need, we want you to come in and help us set up things here. Look, go to South Carolina in America, you will see you have 250 automobile industries located in just one county. That's what we need. And we need to begin to think of having a productive economy instead of a consuming economy. All the things that we're wearing here, all of us, brought in from outside. We need to start producing stuff.
Yeah, made in Nigeria goods.
Yeah, that way we can build our economy. Then we'll stop collecting this and we have these people stop telling us that we have a shared economy. When they are speaking to people they have a shared reality and a shared passion with, they don't hand over things to them. They're talking about collaboration.
Oh, so you're saying that we do not have collaboration, but
We don't.
I'm afraid that we have to leave it there. Chuks Nwoko, Public Affairs Analyst, thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you.
Japan by far in terms of both government development assistance and private sector investments. Joining me now is Global Affairs Analyst Chuks Nwoko. It's nice to have you join me right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Now, Rwanda, one of the countries that has become the role model for modern development on the African continent. While this is going on, the president is at G7, for instance. The G7 summit, he was invited to join what's going on there. Now, if you want to place what African countries, for instance, a country like Nigeria, is doing back home to see how they can complement and be like other African countries, are African countries really on track?
They are not, because it's good that you mentioned the Rwanda president and all that. What he enjoys is the kind of government that they have in the place, the kind of politics that they have, the kind of political system they have in the place. He's focused, he's less distracted unlike we have here. In Japan, you have monarchical kind of government in the place, where you have a monarchy and you have the prime minister and you have all the other political parties.
Close to what Britain has.
Absolutely. So the politics, you can't really divorce the politics from the economy and from development.
Okay.
What we have here is just disruptive, destructive, unprogressive and retrogression. That's what we have here. We have all these agitations and all these. So if you're a president, if I'm a president, yeah, I will be distracted. So that must be, that you must always know about Rwanda, that you must always put in the front burner to recognize the kind of system. So what he's done in the place is because he has taken care of the politics first. Now, Africa must provide leadership for themselves. At the AU level, at the regional level of ECOWAS and all other regional blocks that you have, we need to sit down and encourage ourselves to provide leadership for ourselves first. Then we can look at what we have. We have a buoyant economy, we have the people, we have what it takes. What we just require is leadership to harness, whether it's technology, it's easy to bring technology here. Why can't our president or a president of any African country go to a place like Japan outside of this conference and say, look, marketing, take what you have, marketing, come and build your telephone companies here. Look, they're going to host Olympics very soon. It is going to be technologically driven, like we have never seen before. Why can't you ask them before this meeting to come and do business with us? And like I said to you, what is going on here is not about African development. It's about China and Japan fighting over something that is not known to a lot of people. But it's known to a lot of people.
But as it is right now, we're where we are already.
Yes.
Now, the president is in Japan. What kind of discussion do you think he should have? He's going to be having an audience with the emperor in Japan. He's going to meet with some business community and all of that. What should be driving his kind of discussion?
Very simple. That we need science and technology diplomacy. We need you to bring your innovation to Africa, to Nigeria. We need you to stop all these handouts that you're doing with us. Can we bring our students, do cultural exchange and take it to the highest level? Because I think that we probably have already, because Japan usually will have cultural exchange. Have educational diplomacy. Bring innovation to us. Let us come and copy. That is what they should be discussing. We need you to help us train our youths in this technology, because we know your Olympics is coming. You are hosting Olympics. Some of these things, let's bring our students from maybe 5-6 universities to come here and spend 2 years.
But being strategic in that regard, the point there is the president traveled, he went with some governors and all of that. Do you think he should have gone with some businessmen? He should have gone with some of these people you're talking about, being strategic from the start, so that he goes there with these businessmen and with all of those, so that they can be private sector to private sector discussion and collaboration.
Absolutely, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be on this occasion alone. Okay. For instance, Mr. Tony Elumelu is going to be presenting the Afro-capitalism idea that has been nourishing in the last 3 to 4 years. Okay. It's a new idea, and he's invested money, and now other global agencies are beginning to key in. That type of thing, that's what you need. Idea-driven strategy that you take to the place and tell them that this is what you want. Look, tell them to bring Honda back, tell them to bring Yamaha back, tell them to bring Michelin back, tell them to bring these things back here. Then tell them to allow you bring our people to understudy what is going on in your electronic companies. Go to South Korea, tell them to come and establish Samsung factories here. Tell them to allow our people to come and understudy what they are doing and all that. That's the kind of thing that I am. And our leaders are going to the place and sit down and being treated like on equals. And they tell, look, when they have meetings with equals, watch your television. When they have meetings with the equals, watch the chair arrangement, watch the speeches, watch the presentation. It's funny, but I think that this is a good starting point. But enough of the handouts, enough of the deception, enough of the lies. I do not believe that this is a shared reality or a shared passion for the future.
Okay, we look forward to the best in all of this. Thank you very much, Chuks Nwoko, for coming on the program.
Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Right.